Hello, everyone, YouTube viewers and content creators alike. It's me, Ashley the Catalyst, back at you. I apologize for my delay in uploading. I had some medical stuff I need to get taken care of. Felt a little off, and that means I can't be changing the world unless I'm all good myself over here. So, apologize for the delay. Today's video is going to test my ability to be a gifted linguistic, as I consider it. It's a particular topic where everybody has an opinion, which is cool. My number one motive is to never, ever sway somebody in one direction or the other, regardless of what it's about. I don't really look at things in a right, wrong, good, bad type of way, because I feel like everybody has a right to decide what is for themselves. What's right for me won't be right for you, vice versa. It's not meant to be. And I feel like if we the people can't get on the same page about something like this, then really we need to just let the Trump fanatics build the wall straight up the country. We can split it 50-50. And the majority of us that stay on the one side, the side I will be on, have a faith that like a real democracy and a decent society as compared to what we have been seeing all this time. So let's get started. I'm an all-inclusive person, okay? I don't ever want to tell somebody they're not, they don't matter, or they shouldn't have an opinion, or they shouldn't be involved in the conversation, what have you. That's being dismissive. That is one thing I'm not. Whether I agree with you, whether I think you're full of shit, whether I think anything that I may think, it doesn't change the fact that you are a human and you have a right to feel what you may or may not feel. But let's be very honest. If you don't have a uterus, then today's topic, of course you can stay for it, because I would love people's input no matter what position they hold. But I feel like if you don't have a uterus, unless you were prepared to go do something like, I don't know, talk about your sperm count, or go have a prostate exam, record it, put it up on the internet for everybody to see how your prostate's doing these days, I feel like that your opinion should be very minimum. You have every right to feel how you may feel or may not feel about pro-choice, pro-life, abortion rights. But to keep it at a minimum, because unless you want to go put your stuff out there, fair is fair. If you don't have a uterus, you should really make an attempt to not have too much of an opinion on the goings-on of anyone with a uterus. Just fair. Just want to put that out there. But everybody's welcome to hear me out. But ladies, this one's going to be for us today, because I feel like it's very important that we get on the same page. I think a lot of it comes down to religion, if you want me to be very honest with you, which I will touch base on. And I feel like if you believe in anybody's right that the First Amendment affords us all in the United States specifically, I'm not talking about freedom of speech. I'm talking about freedom of religion. You can't support freedom of religion and then be full-blown anti-abortion, because if somebody has the right to decide what spiritual or religious beliefs they want, and they pray and they have faith in, and they maintain their core beliefs or whatever, if you have the right to decide what religion is for you, then you have the right to decide the goings-on of what's right for you with your body and your life. But we'll touch base on that later. I didn't make a list. I feel like there's probably no right way to start this. A woman's right to decide. If you have to make me take a label between pro-choice or pro-life, pro-choice would be it. Now, it's because I believe in pro-individual. What's right for me or what's right for you do not need to be the same. I will be honest, I do have what you may consider a bias. Cognitive bias, obviously. I actually am a patient at Planned Parenthood. I go there for my regular exams. I go there for my depot shot. I go there because of the quality care I receive there. I can go somewhere else. I opt not to. The fact that they may or may not perform abortions has nothing to do with the quality of care I receive there, or my opinion of them as an establishment, a caregiver, healthcare provider, what you would like to call them. Would I obviously love them to not be boycotted? Obviously. But it has nothing to do with abortion either. It actually has to do with the fact that there are homeless shelters. There are animal shelters. There are so many things in this world that people can be doing that would be so much more amazing and commendable and a contributing member of society than fighting somebody for their beliefs. I think it's a waste of time to boycott somebody because of something that is legal. And it may not be right for you, but that's okay. It doesn't have to be right for you. Please understand that I've known since I was 17 years old, I would never biologically have a child of my own. I was breaking the cycle in my family like it was my mission. It still is my mission. It will always be my mission. There are plenty of kids in this world that didn't ask to be here, that need somebody in their corner. I was one of them kids, and those are the kids I would want to help, the ones that are already here. I don't need to bring a child into this world. I want to help the ones that are already here that need help. So make no mistake though, if I were in a position where that was the choice I had to make, it would not be an easy choice just because I already know exactly what it is no matter what. That doesn't make it easy. It doesn't mean that I don't feel wrong. It means I'm not going to take the risk of passing down my awful genetics to a child. But also I'm not going to bring a child into this world who I can't give the world to. And financially, I can't. I know I would be an amazing mom, and that's why I intend to be a foster mom down the line. But at the end of the day, time is so much better spent actually helping. Because if you change somebody's mind when they're walking into an abortion clinic, what then? Seriously. There's pregnancy crisis centers that some religious institutes have sporadically throughout the country. That's not enough. I don't expect anybody to ever believe what it was like to be the product of a woman, particularly, but that should have never been able to be a mom. They should have no responsibility or authority over another life because they are rotten to the core. They are just a bad human. I was a child that desperately needed to be saved. I was a child that should have never been born. My mom should have never experienced the gift of motherhood or parenthood, period. End of story. And if you can't yourself know what that feels like, then you have no idea what you're actually doing when you say ban all abortions. I understand late-term abortions, but they're very unlikely, okay? At the end of the day, if you believe that life begins at conception, that's okay. You know what, for me, somebody who's very well-versed when it comes to science and medical things, I kind of believe that life really doesn't begin until your memories start to form. I know that sounds crazy, right? It's like not realistic. But we could go back and forth on that when life begins. What is completely torturous, brutal, irresponsible, a list of things, I could give you adjectives all day. But it is wrong to facilitate and force people that should not be having children to have them. Because where will you be? I mean, the foster care system's underfunded. Social services in this country, overworked and underfunded. How many times do you turn on the news and hear a child falls through the cracks? That phrase is one phrase that will ignite the fire in me without hesitation because I think it's ridiculous. I hate it. It disgusts me. But where are you to stop these kids from falling from the cracks? Where are you to give these children a chance? Not just to help them be born, but facilitate a life that is worth having, worth living, because they didn't ask for anything else. They didn't ask to be here. So if you can't put your time and your effort into taking these children in, or doing checks, or helping social services get financed, or I'm forcing the police to do more checkups and things like that with social services. If we can't come up with like a safeguarding program for all these kids you want to force to be here, how can you sleep at night forcing them to be here? You know what I mean? This is all rhetorical. I'm not judging anybody. My emphasis on this is, why stop there, okay? So let's say a day comes and abortion's outlawed in this country, okay? Let's just say that happens. Why would you stop there? It's irresponsible as fuck, honestly, to stop there. Because we already have enough kids that have nobody, didn't ask to be here, and need help. So if you want to force all the kids to be born, what you need to do is go ahead and hit up China, and we need to enforce their law, their one-child policy, something to that effect. Because people who shouldn't be parents, everybody has the right to experience parenthood if that's what they want, and I believe that. I don't care about where you come from, your demographics, your poverty, your income level, none of that. If you are somebody who is mature enough to put your child before yourself from the day they're born until the day you're gone, circle of life given, that's the way it works out, hopefully. But if you're not mature enough to put a child first, if you want to use a child as ammunition or weapon to hurt your ex-spouse, if anything, you go and get whatever assistance and you don't spend it on the right things, like school clothes or new shoes or food, if you're somebody who doesn't have the time to put in the effort, or if you're like some of these parents that I see that do the family YouTubes that have, like, not all of them, I will never ever label something together. I don't believe in that kind of thing. I don't like labels, titles, or grouping, because it just creates a us versus them mentality. But a lot of the family channels that I have seen have made me sick, because I think about it like, how would you have felt if you put your whole childhood, like your first time shaving, your first bra shopping, your punishment, your, like, some of the things that I've seen on here, like, it's child abuse. And I would love nothing more than to get into a boxing ring and spar safely, legally. This is not me condoning violence. This is me saying, if you want to take something out, take it out on me. I'm an adult. Leave your kid alone, because it's like reprehensible and it's like disgusting to me. And that's an opinion. See, I try to keep my opinions out of it, but when it comes to children, it's a little hard, because I want to help and save every child. I know that's not a possible thing to do, but it's not a deterrent for me to want to try anyways. And that's the whole point of everything I'm doing with this YouTube. I want to try to help everybody. Children are my Achilles heel. I was that child who needed to be saved that didn't get saved. So unless you are somebody who can honestly look at it from that aspect, you really need to understand what you're saying when you're anti-abortion. And I'm not saying long-term abortions. I'm saying you are taking away the right for a woman to have the choice to do what's right by her. Now, my spiritual religious beliefs do not matter. They are for me. My relationship with my higher power that I choose to worship is for me. It is not for anybody else, okay? When you say something like, I believe life begins at conception, somebody like me, who is a fast processor, a gifted linguistic, if you will, what that means to me is I am an active listener. I think about who is saying what they're not saying, what else they could be saying, what their emotions or perspectives are saying based on what they are or are not saying. This is how I have conversations with people, okay? So when I hear from that statement is you are literally repeating religious rhetoric that's not your own thought, it's not coming from you. Because if it were coming from you, there's about a million other ways that you can convey that same exact statement with a personal spin on it to make it your own. So the fact that you're repeating it in the same way that so many other people do all the time means it's not coming from you. So if it's not coming from you, why would you want to like force or perpetuate something that you've actually never clearly, like if you sat down and you thought about it, it wasn't for yourself. You were being told it by whomever you go to get the religious rhetoric. I don't want to call anybody names because I don't want to be like them. But anybody who goes right versus wrong, bad versus good, everybody has good and bad in them, okay? Me being a stranger, say I went to wherever and I had an abortion tomorrow, okay? And you never having met me, is what my choice that's right for me, is that in any way, shape, or form going to impede or impact, have anything to do with what's right for you, how you choose to conceive, if you do conceive, the way you choose to raise your kids, the spiritual practices that you have, what you teach them when it comes to morals and fundamentals and virtue. Is my choice of somebody you'll never having met have any bearing on that? Because it shouldn't. Because if it does, you're doing it for the wrong reasons. You're not doing it for you to begin with. That's how religion is for me too. What I choose to do, the way I choose to live my life, what gives me faith and it helps me maintain hope when I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired and want to give up, that's for me. It has nothing to do with anybody else. Your religious beliefs, your actual beliefs, your fundamentals, your morals, whatever makes you up as a person is for you, by you. And that's it. It shouldn't be for anybody else. So what I propose to you is this. Nobody's right or wrong in this, okay? However you feel, I'm okay with that. I support it. I subscribe. I don't want to argue it. I don't want to change it. I don't want to influence it. I just want you to think about the fact that what may or may not be right for you is not going to be right or wrong for other people. And that's how it's supposed to be. It's not meant to be the same for everybody. We wouldn't have independent personalities. I mean, our DNA is over 99% the same across the board in our species, but our wiring is different based on every individual, even like identical twins. You know, no perspective is the same, whether it's like physical, anatomy, medical, you know, when it comes to cancer. No two experiences are the same. I mean, it has everything like environmental air can change it, your genetics, any predisposition, any mutations, any other factors can change it. That's why, you know, it's not so easily curable because there's no one size fits all. Beliefs are the same way. I don't ever want to make somebody believe. I don't need validation. I don't need you to co-sign for me. My beliefs are my beliefs for me, period. And they are based on experience and knowledge and making sure I understand all the alternatives and everything that comes into having my beliefs as what they are. They're not opinions. They can't be changed. I don't want to make you change your opinion. I don't want to make you change your belief. I just want you to maybe not so much agree to disagree because that's being dismissive. I want you to understand that I accept you and what's right for you. Now, next time you want to go boycott somewhere like Planned Parenthood, please just take a second. Even if you still decide to go boycott, just take a second to think about what kind of position these women must be in, okay? Until it happens to you, you can't never know for sure about how you'll react. And it's not going to impact us both the same way anyway, okay? Just know that if that's what they're going to go do, there's a damn good reason for it, and it's what's best for them. And nobody doing anything is ever going to change what's best for you because it's not supposed to work that way. I just want you to think about that for yourself the next time you feel the need to go boycott. And I hope that you'll instead go to a soup kitchen or a homeless shelter or an orphanage or Delaware Humane Society is where I would love to go. So, I mean, go to an animal shelter. There are so many things that you can be doing to make a positive impact and not fight somebody on their beliefs that you're never going to change anyways because you're not meant to all have the same beliefs. And that's okay. Anybody doing this out of religious belief, I mean, there's some variation of judge not lest you'll be judged, right? That's what you're doing. So think about it. Let me know what you guys think.